Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit. I am the link to life beyond pain and the channel to discovering purpose. And this is today's Tuesday Truth. All right, I've been promising y'all for the last couple of weeks that a testimony was coming, and not just a testimony, an awesome testimony. So today is testimony time. Testimony time. So just depending on how things go, testimony might run over 3 weeks, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But anyway, let's get into it. First of all, I want to say thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And I pray that what I share today would bless you and encourage you to share your testimony. All right, it's testimony time, y'all. So here are some words that I want you to remember. So I wrote this testimony out like it's going in a book, and it actually is going to go in a book. So I'm going to read it just as I wrote it. And of course, I may add some other stuff as well. But I just wanted to let you know up front, if you see me looking away, I'm reading my testimony. All right. So first off, here are some words and numbers that I want you to remember throughout the testimony. Okay? Career, retired, rehired, 3 houses, 3 lenders, 3 buyers, 7 months, April through November, before December 23rd, new, detail, promotion. So I know you're not going to remember all of those, so you can always rewind and go back if you need to. All right, so let's get started. Retirement. His plan prevailed. So just as a reminder, I wrote the testimony as if it's going in a book, and it is going to go in a book. So if you see me looking away, that means I'm looking at what I wrote. All right, here we go. So in 2021, I heard the Spirit whisper, it's time to retire. So I was like, bet, let's go. So I have been counting down to retirement for 15 years. So 15 years into my career, I was like, I'm retiring in 15 years. So every year I would count down, which is, of course, is another testimony in itself. My whole career is another testimony in itself, but I won't go into that because that's not the point of this testimony. But what I will say is this: I prayed for a career and God provided, because He is just that good. But let me stay on track. So because I like to do things in my birthday month or around my birthday, I chose to retire on my birthday, which is November 12th, and the year was 2021. After 31 years with Social Security Administration, I said goodbye. I received an interim payment until my pension started, and that interim payment lasted for about 6 or 7 months. My retirement did start for about 6 or 7 months. There were other things happening with the interim payment and the pension, but I won't go into that because that too is not the purpose of this testimony. But what I will say is this: Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. I was officially retired for 4 months before I started working again. I know you're probably thinking like, well, if you was just going to work again, then why retire? Because I heard the Holy Spirit say, it's time to retire. So I practiced being obedient. All right. So after I retired, I was hired by a company contracted by Social Security. And the Social Security Administration is where I enjoyed my career for 31 years. So I was contracted by this company that was contracted by Social Security. So I was back at my old office. But now I was a contract employee. So one day I went to work. I got there early. So I was sitting in the parking lot contemplating about finances and other things. To be transparent, and let me be real transparent, my pension was not what I thought it was supposed to be, even after working 31 years for the Social Security Administration. Even though the first 4 years were temporary, I found out after I retired that none of that money was paid into my pension. So instead of counting all of the 31 years, and that would be OPM, who pays out the Social Security retirement, they only counted 27 years. Therefore, I didn't qualify for the supplemental payment that I was supposed to receive along with my pension. So I received significantly less than what I calculated. And that was not sitting right with me. So of course I investigated, but let me stay on track. All right. So I got to work early. I was hired by a contractor that was contracted by Social Security. And I was back at my old office. So I was sitting in the parking lot, sitting in my car, and a pigeon, which if y'all didn't know, is a dove. I found that out after that day because I actually looked up pigeons. But a pigeon is a dove. But anyway, it landed on my car. And let me tell y'all, so just put a pin here. I've always thought of pigeons as like yucky, dirty, like ugh. But that pigeon was so beautiful, white and blue. It was so pretty. But, now that I think about it, that was one of the sacrifices that was that the people of Israel were able to offer. They were able to offer a pigeon as a sacrifice. But I digress. So anyway, the pigeon landed on my car. It landed on my hood. Now, any other time, I would have blown my horn and scared the heck out of that bird so I could scare it away. But this time, I was totally intrigued watching this pigeon walk back and forth on the hood of my car. I also had my radio playing while I was sitting there. And the song "He's Got the Whole World in His Hand" started playing on the radio, and it was the version by Major, and I'd never heard his version before, but it's pretty dope. Anyhow, I was watching this pigeon and listening to the song, and then a calm came over me. And just to let you know, that pigeon stayed on the hood of my car until that song was over. So, God is so good. The pigeon and the song were God's way of letting me know that He's got me. He's got me, okay? So think about the scripture of God feeding the birds. And I'm just paraphrasing, and dressing the lilies. If He can do that, why should we worry about the cares of this world? And that's a lesson for me, and it was a lesson for me at that time, and that was in 2021. He let me know that I didn't have to worry about anything because He already had things worked out. My finances may have looked a little bleak, but God already had it worked out. All right, so let's start at the beginning. I've always wanted to get out of my hometown. Nothing wrong with it. I grew up there. It was a very nice place to raise your children, but I grew up in the Midwest, and we get a lot of snow and ice and very cold, frigid weather. And so I was just ready to go. I was ready to leave the cold weather and venture, into warmer weather because I'm not a big fan of like super cold weather. The snow is beautiful, but I'm not a fan of driving in it. But anyway, I've always wanted to get out of my hometown, so I tried to leave in 1985, but I ended back up in my hometown 1 month later. It's all in God's timing, and we have to remember that. If you don't remember anything else, remember, it's all in God's timing. 1985 was not the time for me to leave. Okay, 38 years later, God allowed the move to happen. He allowed me to get out of my hometown. So, of course, there were a whole lot of things that I needed to learn and experience before this move could happen the way that God planned for it to happen. And man, oh man, woman, oh woman, the way God did it, oh my, listen, we can take a pause break, a praise break, a pause and praise right now because God is so good. He is. Just lift your hands and tell him hallelujah right now. Let me tell you, he is so good. Just keep listening. Don't click me off right now. Just keep listening. All right, so I'm going to give you some numbers. Remember, I had you guys remember some things at the beginning. The 3 houses, 3 lenders, 3 buyers. Remember that? 38. That's another number you can remember. 38, 3 and 8. So 3 means biblically divine wholeness, completeness, and perfection. The number 8 means resurrection and regeneration. The Hebrew meaning is new beginnings. So let's talk about the number 3. And let me be very clear. I am not into numerology at all, but these numbers are significant biblically. So number 3, I said, is divine wholeness, completeness, and perfection. 8 is resurrection and regeneration, and the Hebrew meaning is new beginnings. Oh, yeah, and the number 4 kept showing up as well, and 4 indicates completeness. Listen, nope. I said, I'm not into numerology and any of that, but I do believe that God allows some things to get our attention. And he was allowing me to see 3s and 4s and the number 8 to get my attention. The number 5 is in there too, but we're going to keep going. All right. So let's pick up in the year 2020. My hubby and I were out riding around one day. My husband loves to drive, and I love to ride, at least when we're already out. So, like, if we're at home, he'd be like, let's go ride. And I might be like, I don't want to. But anyway, we were out, and we were just out riding around. So we were riding down War Drive. Some of you know it as 150 or War Memorial. And then we turned off on a frontage road. And as we were riding, both of us saw this house for sale. Now, mind you, we were not in the market or looking to buy a house. Our house was fully paid for. To God be the glory. He let us pay that house off, y'all. So as we were heading back home, we passed the house again. But the house was actually off of University Street, but you could see it from War Drive. So the next time we passed the house, I said something. I don't remember what I said. And my hubby asked if I wanted to see the house. So I was like, sure, let's do it. We found that street that the house was on. It was off University. We had to go back up in the neighborhood to find that house, but we found the street that it was on. So then we pulled up into the driveway, and then we saw a realtor sign. So we contacted the realty company. One of the realtors texted us, but the other one called. He said that, he likes to talk to potential clients because it's more personable, or I think I'm putting words into his mouth, but it was, he said something like that. So can I just stop right here and give God some glory? Again, he is so good. Listen, when God does it, he does it well. I love how he provided without us even asking. Okay, so needless to say, we connected with the realtor who called us. And I can definitely say that he was a definite godsend. That's a whole nother testimony too. But we ain't talking about that. But anyway, that began our journey of house hunting. House hunting, something that wasn't even on our minds or in our wheelhouse. We had no idea that we were going to be looking to buy another house. I told y'all our house was paid off, so we was set. I was just ready to move. I'm like, all right, the house paid off, the vehicles are paid off. So hey, the next thing is gonna happen is you're finna get up out of here. God had another plan. So if you've gone house hunting, you know the ups and downs of the whole process. All right, so let me fast forward. God used one of my hubby's co-workers to direct us to the house that he wanted us to have. And man, woman, sister girl, brother, that house is beautiful. It is beautiful to say the least. That was house number one. Remember I said 3 houses, 3 lenders, 3 buyers, house one. The whole process of purchasing that house was so smooth. As we were going through the process, I was like, this has to be God, because it was so smooth. God provided the realtor who connected us to the lender, and the house's seller was so sweet. She was so sweet. She built that house from the ground, and it was supposed to be her forever house. But God had other plans for her as well. And he had other plans for her, so he could abundantly bless me and my hubby. So the person that sold us the house even said that she was happy that it was us that she sold the house to. We still have a relationship to this day. She's such a sweet soul. And I am so glad that God connected us. Listen, all we have to do is be obedient. I know I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but all we have to do is be obedient and just watch God work. He will bring everything that you need. He will connect you with whoever you're supposed to be connected with so that he can bless you, so that he can get you where he's planned for you to be. To add to that blessing of us purchasing that house, the seller of that house sold us her furniture for a very minimal price. It was, the furniture, high quality furniture. And she allowed us to purchase it from her. Purchase the furniture from her. On top of that, she gifted a lot of stuff to us. A lot of stuff. I won't go into it, but I'll say this. All we brought with us to that house was our clothes, a desk, and the beds from our other 2 bedrooms for the other 2 bedrooms that was in the house. It was a 4-bedroom house, possibly 5. But we had plans for the 4th bedroom, which, we were able to put a sofa bed in that bedroom. So anyway, man, it was just so dope. So like I said, that's all we bought. And we didn't have to bring, so even though we bought our bedroom furniture, we put that in the 2nd bedroom because the master suite or the primary bedroom or whatever you call it was already fully furnished. The house was pretty much fully furnished. We didn't, if we wanted to, we didn't have to bring anything but our clothes. and some other essential things that we needed because the house was fully furnished. I'm trying to tell you how God works. It was such a blessing. All right, let me continue. So we moved into the house July of 2020. And y'all know what the number 7 means, right? Completion. So remember though, we were not looking for a home, but God designed that home just for me and my hubby. Oh man, let me tell you, the house is beautiful. So even though we bought that house, we still owned our first house. And because of that, we were able to help some of our family members by renting the house to them until it was time. And you might be asking, till it was time to what? By that, I mean God's appointed time. Okay, so remember, I said that I wanted to leave, or I did leave back in 1985, only to come back to my hometown 1 month later, y'all. Well, God's appointed time is always perfect. I had been preparing to leave for years, but I knew I had to wait for God to release me to leave. This time, I'm like, nope, I'm not just jumping up and leaving on my own. I'm going to wait until God releases me. So I prayed and I waited. I prayed and I waited. I watched others leave, but I didn't get discouraged. I just kept praying and encouraging myself by saying, my time is coming. And earlier in the testimony, I told you 38 years later was the appointed time for me to be released to move from my hometown.